To me, photography is an art of observation. It's about finding something interesting in an ordinary place.
There's nothing more extraordinary than reality.
Hey, welcome to the Street Shots Photography Podcast. This is Antonio.
And this is Ward.
And we're at episode 253 for the end of April 2026. I realized the last episode I said 2025.
A little
April.
time travel doesn't hurt.
A little time travel. Yeah, a little hopeful time travel. Go back a year. Yeah, but this... Sorry. Yeah, anyway, it's the end of April 2026. And we're also area code 253. Where does that serve?
That's Washington State, right? The Seattle-Tacoma area.
It is? Okay, 253.
Yeah.
Tacoma, Auburn. I don't know where Auburn is.
Me neither.
Federal
We'll
Way.
have to look it up.
That's a town. Federal Way. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Hi, Seattle-Tacoma area.
We enjoy your culture. And your music.
Have you been there? Have you ever visited?
We
Seattle?
did a family trip to Seattle, yes.
How long ago?
Oh, quite a while ago. Maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Might have been about the same time I was there.
We went to see How to Train Your Dragon in the theater in Redmond. I have very specific, because the kids were little and we went to see that. So whatever year that movie... Yeah, whatever year that movie came out was the year.
Yeah, that's the animated one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw that recently here. It's my girlfriend's daughter's favorite movie. and for her birthday, I bought her a Lego Toothless.
Oh, cool.
But yeah. It was a really cool Lego thing. Anyway, yeah, I was there twice. I went there twice. I think in the late 90s. Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe early 90s. Maybe I should say the early 90s. So yeah, I haven't been there in a long time, but I really liked it there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you drive north into like the Cascades and go check stuff out?
We actually drove down there from Vancouver, so we have some of my family's in Vancouver. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then we went back up and then drove.
Did you take the ferry across?
No. Just
you just drove.
Yeah, just drove across the Peace, whatever it's called, the Peace Memorial, Peace Park at Blaine, Washington. Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I don't know where that is. One time I took the ferry from Port Angeles across to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And there was a really interesting town. I didn't spend much time there, but there's this giant mural of this old like ferry from the 30s. One of these Art Deco kind of ferries that was transporting cars. That's why I thought maybe you took a car over.
And we stayed on the pavement. So.
Yeah, but I went there with my late friend Big Tony. We went there twice. And I remember we went to see Mount Shuksan, and we drove up this windy switchback road all the way to look at the mountain. Of course, we're going higher and higher in elevation. Yeah. And I had brought with me my Mamiya, the RB67.
Okay.
So the RB, am I getting that right? What's the other one? The RZ.
The RZ, yeah.
Yeah, the RB67, which is about the size of Frankenstein's foot shoe, right? With three lenses. I had three lenses, and I had this giant Bogan tripod. And of course, all that stuff was stuck in the trunk, right? But when we get there, we had to park and then walk up another trail.
And all of this is digging into your shoulders.
Right. And then what 8,000, 9,000 feet? I don't know how high we are. And I can't breathe at all. Yeah. I didn't need to bring the tripod with me. It was bright enough that I could have handheld everything. We weren't there until nighttime. That being said, actually, no, I've been there 3 times. Excuse me. 3 times.
Well, you
We were
beat
there
me
once.
then. I've only been there. I've only been to Seattle twice. So
Yeah. Well, anyway, Seattle. Hey, how you guys doing? It's really nice there, and I would love to go back. And just the landscape, like looking out your window, and you can see mountains like right there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were flying in, and we're sort of like look out the window, and there's Mount Rainier staring at us from the side of the window. Like we're in an airplane, and there's a mountain to our right, and it's taller than us. Yeah. So
that's cool.
Nice,
When you're driving along the Columbia, if you're driving west, like if you come from Calgary and you go down into Idaho and then into Oregon, actually, you're driving in through Oregon, and Mount Hood shows up on the horizon and gets bigger and bigger as you're driving along the Columbia. It's just stunning. These drives in the Pacific Northwest, they're not to be underestimated. They're beautiful.
Not at all. I mean, when I was there with Big Tony, we were driving through the really dense forest, and we turned on our headlights just to be safe because it was so dark. And then, but the sad thing was, all of a sudden, you came out into a big clear-cut area, and it was like night and day, literally. And looking at the clear-cut, and I've never seen anything like that.
So it was actually clear-cut. It wasn't deadfall like after a fire.
No, it was clear-cut. It was like segmented. You could see like a wall of dark trees, and then I took some pictures of the leftover stumps that were all like as far as you could see. It was pretty dramatic. I'm not making any statements about it. I don't like the clear cutting, but I'm not here to make that. Photographically, it was just an incredible trip. Both of my trips, well, all 3 of my trips, but to see some of that stuff for the first time, I've never been out west like that and seen even some of the trees were big. They're not like redwoods. I'm looking at trees that are huge, and just things are so much bigger. In the lake, what was it, like Lake Diablo with all the calcium deposit in it? And it's like this milky white lake. There was so much unreal stuff there. I did not have enough film with me to capture all that. I mean, I was shooting stock then too, but yeah. And then the temperate rainforest, the Hoh rainforest.
Yeah.
And we were in there. We were hearing the sounds of I think elk or something.
Yeah, they got a whistle, like a dual whistle kind of sound.
It was weird. I don't know what it was. It was I want to say barking or I don't know.
My dad used to be able to make a sound like an elk. He taught me how to do it. I wouldn't do it on here because it's with noise. But it's like a double whistle, like arpeggio kind of whistle. And
oh yeah. Well, I went there with, again, everybody who I went there with is no longer on the earth. Went there with Elizabeth when I bought my first DSLR, which I still have, believe it or not, my Nikon D100. And I was really excited to do that. It's a 6 megapixel camera, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to set up RAW plus JPEG and have the pictures recorded with some speed. There was something wrong with that setting, or maybe the card was too slow, and it was just impossible to get the RAW plus JPEG the way I wanted. And so I shot everything JPEG, and I've got all those pictures still, and big regret that I couldn't fix that because, I've got these great 6 megapixel pictures of the Pacific Northwest that I can't do much with other than maybe resize with like Topaz AI, which actually does a very good job of giving it some oomph so that I could print them. But I can't change the fact that it's not raw, so I can't, recover highlights and stuff. Right. But yeah, it was a lot of fun bringing that camera with me.
Yeah, that was all before I really got serious again. So kids were little, we traveled and we took a few, snaps while the kids are in the pool and things, but nothing too artistic in those days.
Yeah. Anyway, wow. Look at that. We can do a whole show based on an
area code 253.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, hey Tacoma, hey Seattle. Yeah. Nice to see you. So, anyway, what you been up to?
Not too much. My daughter has moved away from Japan, and she's packing. She staying with us for a couple of weeks. She's headed back to her home in British Columbia here. Speaking of Pacific Northwest, she's going back on Friday. As we're recording this is Monday. So I've got a few more days with her before she goes back to her life teaching back here in Canada. So, and we will lose the dog too. The dog's going to be going back with her, and he's been our companion for 2 years.
Walks, huh?
Well, there'll be walks because I need to walk, but they'll be dogless. But no. So it's it's kind of an emotional time. Day job's going fine. I've been watching the YouTube on photographic stuff, and
me too. We'll talk about that when we get into our stuff.
Yeah. So, but other than that, things are good. We've been getting weekly snowstorms here for the past 5 weeks, 6 weeks. It's been
that's nuts.
Heavy, wet stuff that you got to shovel. And I know you don't like shoveling snow, but I don't have room in my garage for a snow blower, so I'm out there with the shovel. And
be careful.
Not fun. Oh, I don't. I'm not a hero with a snow shovel.
Yeah. Okay.
But hopefully that's gone. It's melted again this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. We've had one of these early spring, late winter, early spring. I mean, the temperatures fluctuated a lot. We're now like in the 60s, so it feels like it's a normal thing. But everything's starting to turn green. There's a park here called the Sunken Gardens, a little botanic garden kind of thing. Tulips, and it was wonderful taking pictures of tulips. I missed those from the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And I don't know about you, but excuse me, you take pictures of tulips. I don't do anything with them. I know. Just take pictures of them because it's so much fun to see them in a camera and try to set them up in, I don't know, the frame in such a way that they're like stacked up and all the colors together. Yeah. And I don't do anything with them. I just throw them in the Lightroom catalog.
The zoo here has like a botanic garden, and I've taught a 6-week community college course years and years ago. It's like early 90s. And I went out and just shot some slide film because I needed some stuff, and I had Kodachrome 25 and I had Velvia. And those, oh man, they're here somewhere. The slides are here somewhere, but I use them as examples for color and like, wow.
Yeah. Kodachrome had a really interesting time with those reds.
Yeah.
Could it catch the subtleties between the petals? Or did
the veins in them.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I wasn't. I bracketed my exposure. It was an expensive roll of film. I didn't get that many good frames, but the ones I got, I definitely used. So, and the yellows, the way Velvia kind of oversaturates the yellows and the greens. So I think the yellows are boosted. This is all 20, 30-year-old memory, but I seem to remember the green was a little bit more lush looking, I think, because the yellow was a little bit more saturated.
It had a yellow bias to it on purpose. I can't remember the reason why, but there was a reason that they yellow biased it. So that's when we used to see catalogs from other stock agencies, and I mentioned this probably ad nauseum, but so forgive me, everybody. But when stock agencies present their pictures to the world, they present them in catalogs, so that they would send those out as printed pieces to clients, and they would have sort of like the best of the best pictures in there. And we would get a catalog from a company called Tony Stone, and they were our main rivals. And we would look at their catalog and I'm like, oh, what's going on there? And a lot of their photographers were shooting Velvia at the time. Not a lot of our photographers were doing that, and they were taking advantage of the color and the saturation, and they were making like sort of larger pictures in the catalog. We had like boxy pictures, like 10 pictures per page, and picture. When they would like fill up the, they would do like they designed it, but it was the Velvia that really jumped, especially when someone had pictures at sunset or sunrise. Those colors really got off the charts. And it might have been a little too much, but back then that's what kind of people wanted, because everybody was coming off of Kodachrome, which is beautiful, but for advertising at that time, people wanted really saturated colors and all that kind of stuff, and they really wanted to push printing to the max. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. Sorry.
We're just talking about, we're just going back and forth about
The films. Yeah.
Film, yeah. So I don't think I ever shot any more than 3 or 4 rolls of Velvia
Ever?
ever.
Really?
Because I was so entrenched in black and white. And then by then, that was just getting around the time that I taught that course, I was getting back into the darkroom. So,
wow. Velvia rivaled, I think, some current digital sensors. I remember photographing something where I could read the text of something across the river when I was looping it. It was just so insanely sharp. But yeah, anyway, flower pictures, I've got probably, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them boxes downstairs that I sent to the stock agency of tulips. Their tulip file was beyond the size that you could handle. It was just everywhere. All the photographers go out to tulip fields. They especially go out to tulip fields back to Washington where they were.
Yeah, I was just going to say Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. That same trip, actually.
Yeah. Did you see tulips when you were there?
We did, yes.
Wow. That must have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the field of like red tulips and there's one lone yellow one in the middle.
Yeah.
Something like
My
that.
favorite is the red or orange, and then there's a black one or a violet one in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that didn't really work very well for a photograph, but they were stunning. Well, because they would just go down into shadow, right?
Yeah.
But they in person, it was something else.
Speaking of flowers, I can't access my phone right now, but Angie showed me a photographer today on Instagram from the Netherlands who photographs flowers in an unbelievably beautiful way. And maybe I'll try to put the link in the show notes for her, and I don't remember her name. I have to send it to you so you can see it. But the way she photographs flowers, apparently she grows them in her own garden. And it's that style of, some of the stuff is that style of photography that looks like paintings of the, like, still life on a table with a dark background. And I don't know what that's called, those 3D looking paintings.
Yeah.
You would probably know.
I just call them still life. I mean,
it's beyond still life. It looks like the paintings look like photographs, those old paintings.
Okay.
And
photorealistic, whatever.
Well, not really. There's a name for it. It's a style, and it's an old style. Anyway, totally forgetting what it's called. But her photographs look like those paintings, which is really kind of funny. I also know another photographer in Brooklyn who is friends with me on Facebook. And during the pandemic, she was setting up flowers on her table using the natural light that was coming in from her window in her brownstone and photographing in the same way. And those pictures are beautiful. But anyway, I don't know if she's got a website, but the woman from the Netherlands I'll find. But in fact, I would love to get her on the show. It'd be great to have someone who's taking pictures of ordinary things like flowers and turning them into something else. Because you always look at pictures of flowers like, how many ways can you photograph flowers, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently you can. There are many ways, I think of Irving Penn's flower pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a book called Flowers, which I happen to have. And even his work is, goes beyond it. And it's just that idea of being able to take something that you see every day and turn it into something new, which I think is what we'll be talking about in a minute. Actually, it's nice. It's not quite a segue, but I wanted to get into
let's get there.
I just want to say what I was doing, and nothing much photographically, other than I did put up an article on our Substack about a town that I went and photographed because we happened to be in the area, and I was photographing this place called Ashland. And that's about the only photographic thing that I've done, other than make a print for Gavin, which I think I might have talked about. It might still be in transit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't checked the tracking on that. But to get my printer up and running was great. But it's been kind of slow here. I mean, I think one thing I'm working on is getting my class together for July, and then proposing classes for the fall to the community college here. And I've proposed about 10 classes. 10 classes, actually. It's exactly 10. One of them is a podcast class. I figured I got some a one-off class, though. Yeah. I figure I got some chops in that. So we'll see if, fingers crossed, that I can get a lot of other classes signed up. But that's about it. So it hasn't been a totally great camera work. I mean, this wedding that's coming up this weekend, we're going to a wedding, and I'm not photographing it.
I was going to ask, so there's no photography for you.
Well, I'm going to bring of course I'm going to bring my camera, but I'm not the photographer. But that being said, I'm going to be live streaming it through my iPhone, which I'm using right now for your video feed of me. That's gonna live stream so that family members in New Zealand can watch it at 6:00 in the morning.
Cool.
Yeah, it'll be about 6:00. Yeah, so on a Monday, and I have this the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera, this little handheld gimbal camera.
Yeah,
this video camera, which I will be handing off to a woman who knows how to do video, and we're just like. She's going to be recording video throughout the evening, but I'm not touching it. I'll be gathering the video at the end, but I'm not doing anything. I will bring my drone, and it's going to be an indoor wedding just because the potential for weather.
Yeah.
So, but I will fly my drone around and take some, pictures and some video of the location. So, but
cool.
That's coming up this week, and that's about it. I didn't buy any cameras, didn't buy any lenses. Oh, one last thing. I've been meaning, I wanted to tell somebody about this. So I'll tell you because you've got an iPhone.
Okay.
Download this app called Project Indigo from Adobe.
Okay.
Right. Put Lightroom on your phone too.
I've got Lightroom. Sure I've already got Lightroom.
All right. So put Lightroom on your phone if you don't have it. For those of you who are listening. Project Indigo is a camera app from Adobe. And it is a pretty awesome camera app. It's a little wonky. I don't know what their plans are with it, but they're using Adobe's super resolution to, I guess it's AI built in. So, for those of you who are against AI, you may not be happy with it, but I am incredibly happy with the results. Of pictures I've taken with it, because especially if you have one of these phones that's got the multiple lenses, it will do those steps in between the lenses, and it will give you an incredibly good quality raw file. With a lot of depth of field, if not a lot of depth of field. Of course, it has depth of field, with a lot of dynamic range to play with. And I recently photographed. I don't know if you saw on our Discord. I posted a whole bunch of pictures of clouds that I shot. All that stuff was shot with Project Indigo app when I was in a parking lot, and then I just turned them to black and white, which looked incredible. And the iPhone, most phone cameras these days are doing 48 megapixels, quote unquote, plus.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the files really close up, pixel peeping, as it were, and the quality is pretty flipping amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's GFX or medium format size, quality, or even like Sony full frame things. But for a phone, they look pretty good. I would think they would hold up very well for large size prints. So this is not, we're not getting paid by Adobe, and I'm not the biggest fan of Adobe these days, but they're doing something right with this app. It's free, so there's no reason not to have it. But it does tie into Lightroom. So when you photograph with it, it creates the gallery in the phone app, and you can select the pictures and immediately import them to Lightroom.
Okay.
So it's a nice little workflow. Like I said, it's a little bit of a clunky camera app. It does, when you take pictures, it does take time to process them before you can take you can take a bunch of pictures, but the buffer at some point will fill, and you'll have to wait for the buffer and the phone can get a little toasty, although the newest version has been a lot better with keeping the camera cooler, but because it's doing all this processing in the background, it can charge up the camera a little bit. So anyway, I wanted to put that in. I wanted to tell somebody about it.
All right, I'm going to try it because I've been kind of itching. I just got a new iPhone. I got the 17 Pro this just before the weekend, and my case arrived yesterday, so now it's safe to take outside.
Right.
So I definitely going to do that this week and see what I can see.
Yeah, play with it. And I'd love to see your take on that, and especially with your processing. Okay. And they're DNG files, so you can open them up in Snapseed. I know you do a lot of stuff in Snapseed. So I'm pretty sure you can open up in Snapseed and do your magic in them too. All right. So what are we talking about tonight?
What are we talking about?
Of course, I'm the one.
Let's talk about boring stuff. Can we talk about
Boring stuff, which is what we took. We're dad photographers talking about boring stuff. Okay. Well, this got sparked. I just watched. Boy, I'm really happy for Alex Kilby and his Photographic Eye channel. Have you been watching him?
I have. Yeah. How's it?
Lately?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, but I've been watching him more lately. Yeah, it's funny. I haven't.
He took a long break. He took a long break, and now he was a guest. He was a guest of ours.
Yes,
earlier.
It was great
on.
to have him when he was just getting his channel sort of up and running. I mean, he was, but now he's got something like over 250,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just watched him what was it, a couple days ago, the other day, and what was let me see the video that he was talking about. Okay, so the thumbnail is a picture of one of Stephen Shore's pictures of I don't know where it is, but it's of a lot of gas stations. It's like a commercial road, and there's a Texaco, stuff like that. And the title of it is What Stephen Shore Knew About Shooting Boring Places.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's got 159,000 views on that. Yeah. Wow, I'm looking at his channel. That's the most. Oh my gosh, wow. That is the most he's gotten in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the 8 videos I'm looking at. That's great. Awesome. Wonder why. So that's interesting. There's 160,000 people who are watching this thing about Stephen Shore. So anyway, it got me thinking in terms of, because Stephen Shore is taking pictures. Well, we would kind of, if one doesn't know what he does, one would say he's taking pictures of nothing. Right? There's nothing there. And I don't know why I was equating this some way to what I did in Ashland or something. I'm not sure there's a direct connection yet. Maybe we can figure that out while we're talking. But this idea of photographing photographing ordinary things. And one thing that Kilby said, I don't know if it was in that video or another one, maybe it was another one, where about not these guys, the Shores and the Egglestons and all these photographers are doing things like this, are not photographing the thing. They're not photographing an object, a specific. Help me in this. You're going to have to.
Well, there's an environmental aspect to it. It's a scene that has that in the end kind of represents something bigger than this apparently quiet, apparently boring subject matter like this. And there's emotional and graphical component to it. It's sort of like, the photographer went out of his way to photograph this thing, and you ask yourself, well, this what is this about? Why did he look at this? And then you start looking at the details of it, and it's sort of like there's something bigger going on here. Maybe it's a reflection of our own lives, and whether or not we take account or notice those things in our daily lives. I think also, in the case of Stephen Shore, and I'm trying to think of that other photographer that we did a deep dive on. Wow, maybe about a year ago. His name escapes me. Anyway, he was documenting America. He did that picture of the space shuttle at the airport. That was on the 747. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a bit of a time capsule. There's a bit of a time capsule aspect to it too, where you're looking at what the world was, what the country was, what America was at that moment. That's
a curiosity, right? That brings up our curiosity, of course.
Yeah. But it's just how do I put it? Things are settled. You're not searching for, you're not shooting street specifically. You're not doing a dance like Joel Meyerowitz trying to catch the moment. Although there's definitely a component of that. Stephen Shore was he did 35 millimeter stuff to surfaces, but he also did view camera stuff, and some of those view camera images, they're of very kind of ordinary scenes. And you look at them and there's so much detail, and there's so much of
Well, that's
of an apparent meaning, or
yeah.
a full on meaning, depending on what's going on in your
But
head.
let's translate this to modern times now, where we're kind of looking. I talk about the big we, not you and me, but we are looking for the hero photographs, the photographs that focus one's attention onto whatever it is, and we see this every day in advertising and Instagram and everything. And you look at that like a picture. I don't want to make this about Stephen Shore, but we're going to just grasp that one shot of the gas stations and stuff. There's nothing there to focus on. There's no hero aspect to that. And we're sitting here and for his contemporaries too. I mean, I don't know when, we're all photographing for our contemporary. We're not photographing for nostalgia purposes in the future, right?
No.
So someone like him is not photographing saying, "Oh, in the 90s they'll find this, or the 2000s they'll find this stuff quaint." Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't on his mind, and it's not on your mind or my mind when we're taking pictures of what we think might be ordinary places and stuff.
Right.
So that's just a consequence, right? I think. But these days we have the short attention span. We couldn't look at a picture like that. Maybe people spend less time looking at pictures like that. But what's the difference? Is there a difference between like a picture of an ordinary subject and an ordinary photograph, right? Is there a difference that we can see where we don't have a hero subject? Yeah, that's a question.
Yeah, that's a question. No, I'm just thinking about Joel Sternfeld is the guy we were talking about.
Joe Sternfeld, yeah. This is what happens when you get old, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, think about this for a while. There's a feeling you get when you're looking at these scenes, when you're lining up stuff, and both you and I have done it. I mean, you had made reference to Ashland, and I visited the South, and sort of in your neighborhood. I've drove through Nebraska. I didn't really ever stay there, but the pictures that from Ashland have a kind of a deep sense of place in them. It seems kind of bleak to me, but I'm from in some ways kind of a bleak city in certain times of the year for sure. But there's I don't know. For me, it's it's transmission of place. It's like almost like a tableau. No, there doesn't need to be punctum in the picture necessarily. Just the meaning comes from, I don't know, the stillness of what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. The place and the stillness. Like you don't have to. You bring your own experience into looking at the frame. If that's a quality of a non-hero picture.
Of an ordinary picture, you would say?
Of an ordinary picture, yeah.
Yeah.
You see pictures of clothes hanging on a line and there's barely a breeze, like it's kind of a nothing burger subject, but you can put yourself, maybe you can feel the breeze, coming up or something. Like so the point of it is different. The point of those photographs is different. The way it affects the viewer.
Let's work at it from a slightly different point of view or angle.
Okay.
For instance, this would be kind of the thing I would love to be able to teach my photo students when I get them in a 6-week class, right? Basically to give them the permission to photograph ordinary things, like things in your life, things that you see, and to try to get them deprogrammed from this idea that every picture of something has to be of something and has to be the best or the most, focused on thing that they could find, which I think would be more of a challenge than photographing ordinary. And how to convince, or not convince them, but how to put it in such a way that, like, showing them pictures like the Shore picture or Sternfeld's pictures and say, this kind of stuff is considered art and it's fine for you to do this. Mm-hmm. It's great. How would you approach that? And this is a genuine question because I sometimes get stuck with this stuff. Like I love when I was doing my stuff in Brooklyn, the 11218 stuff, to me, that was very ordinary stuff. And of course it was working together in context. So it was, I was putting them all together. But the idea of just photographing what I was seeing every day, nothing had to be a hero shot. It was just ordinary stuff. And I was fine with that. I get the sense that people would not be satisfied with that.
Well, but they don't.
How to give them
they wouldn't be satisfied with that as a viewer, because I honestly think that's an education thing. You tell them, here, photograph ordinary things. Catch a bottle on the table. Okay. You can make that monumental too, right? It can go either direction, right? The ordinary thing becomes this monolithic object, or it can just be an empty street scene where empty street scenes, it can evoke something very emotional as well. I'm looking at it from the emotional point of view, the effect on the viewer. I think of it that way, not so much as your angle is to get young photographers, new photographers motivated, or at least have some kind of understanding about what those, the effort in creating those types of images. Am I right there? Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
possibly.
I mean, you just have to do it and decide what how the assignment is, go shoot ordinary things and let's see what you come up with.
Well, let's talk about each other's work then, maybe from our own examples. What ordinary subjects do you photograph? What would you say is ordinary for you and that you like to photograph, things that you come back to over and over again?
Things I come back to over and over again. Well, it's leaning towards nature, though. The trees in my neighborhood in the wintertime with the hoarfrost and the whatever, they're in different times of the year. That's more leaning towards, nature. I'm thinking when we were having this little conversation before showtime, I was talking about when I went to visit my hometown and I just took pictures of individual objects that were in the street in my hometown and giving them black and white processing and making it about, and I think the phrase I used was the thing itself. Again, but like the ketchup bottle, it's elevating it to, it's like, look at this thing I photographed. I'm trying to put an emphasis on it. Like, you need to see me. You need to see this thing. That's what's going through my head. And there's details in this thing that I photographed that when on the normal course of things would be a really boring subject. But if all I have in the frame is this thing, this 40-year-old, 50-year-old Lincoln Continental that's parked with flat tires in the middle of the yard, or not in the middle of the yard, in the middle of the street or on the street, or a shed, that's got, a ladder hanging on it that's kind of interesting. They're elevating them from being from being probably not noticed to being noticed. In those cases, I don't take many I can't remember taking pictures of like empty streets or anything like that. For me, they're even with these ordinary subjects, I'm making them about one thing. It's not in the Stephen Shore example or the Joel Sternfeld example where there's almost a cinematic kind of thing going on where there's lots for you to look at.
Right.
And that's just the way I work. If we came up with an assignment, Ward, go out this weekend and do that, I'd be happy to. You know what I mean? Just to do something else. That could be a motivation for new photographers. Again, it's just to go out and do it. Like the assignment is, do individual subjects or just do the open, whatever, the sides of buildings. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. For myself, I was going to say, I have yet to find a lot of the ordinary things here that are crossover from Brooklyn, except the one thing I have found is the discarded chairs.
Right.
Which,
sorry, I don't mean to. I mean, that's a great thread. Like you've got this. Like, how many years can you go back with your chairs? Right?
I can go back quite some time. Yeah, and I haven't done anything with them, and I'm not sure. Well, it's an object, of course. It's a hero object, so maybe that's not the right thing. I do consider it ordinary, even though there's a single subject to the pictures. But I would think that so many people would not think about a discarded chair, as was waiting for being taken out by the garbage as something extraordinary to take a picture of. And so in that sense, I find it ordinary, but it's not kind of, people can relate to it though, and I think it's easy for someone to look at my picture and say, okay, I understand. Like it's this chair and it's in an odd place, but I still don't have I think I'm still trying to figure out what would be ordinary. And I think I could have done this in Brooklyn too. This has nothing to do with moving to the Midwest or anything, but it's a little trickier for me to figure out what is ordinary. What do I want to photograph? Because in a sense, we were talking about this. I haven't done a lot of things photographically in the past few weeks. And this is a great time to photograph. And I can photograph birds and stuff like that. And, wonderful. It's not tulips, like you said, but there is a lot of ordinary surrounded by it. If those photographers from the 70s and 80s and even up till now who are doing this kind of stuff can show us, there's plenty of ordinary to photograph. I just haven't found it yet. I haven't found it. I haven't made the mental switch to look at the world the way those guys did. And I think it's actually be a great exercise, especially for new photographers or people who want to learn more about photography, not necessarily newbies, but like people who want to go and explore it differently, to be able to see, to turn the world on its side a little bit and look at it from that point of view so that you could create a picture that is compelling, which someone would have said, why did you take a picture of that? Like, to me, that would be the success of an ordinary photograph. If someone says to you, why did you take that picture? Like, what is it of? And
but they're asking you in a truly curious and what do I want to say? Asking with the feeling of what you caught here was kind of unexpected, and I'm stimulated by it. Like like an honest curiosity. What made you take a picture? Not like, why would you take a picture of that stupid thing?
Right.
There was something. You're part of being a photographer is you're creating art. You're trying to create something that's uplifting, I think, anyway, or whatever. But it's just and we're kind of getting into the territory I was talking before. Like the whole Nike just do it thing, have an assignment.
Well, it's easy to say just do it, but it's hard to what is the it, and you can get stuck that way. I mean, I sit at my desk here and I look around and it's a mess. I got stuff everywhere. And when I was thinking about this today, I have my pair of glasses sitting on a notepad right underneath my monitor, and I took a picture with my Fuji camera because I thought, and I switched lenses, and I thought, this is interesting. It's something I'm looking at all the time. It's ordinary in the sense of like, I see it. I don't pay attention to it. It's so ordinary. I don't even pay attention to it. So what happens if I turn the camera on my stuff and look around? And I don't know if it was successful or not. And I'm not saying it was. It was just a moment of like thinking, I could be surrounded by stuff that is very ordinary and I could take pictures and they could have meaning, maybe. I don't know if that's a great way to practice this or to understand it more. But I really want to do this because I especially feel strongly about talking to sort of newer photographers or people who are interested in getting into photography about this, because I think it gives a freedom to photography that they may not be aware of. And especially younger photographers who have been growing up with social media and everything is glitz and glamour and that kind of stuff.
Selfies at the Grand Canyon.
Right. It's like, you don't need that. You can create beautiful things of ordinary stuff. So Let me ask you this question. Why do you think people dismiss these kind of pictures as boring when we see this kind of stuff?
Well, they don't feed a narcissistic narrative is the wrong word, narcissistic impulse in the photographer. Like, why didn't you take
explain that a little,
well, I'm a great photographer. I'm a great photographer. Therefore, I'm going to take pictures of this car and I'm going to take pictures of this sunset and these trees, and they're perfectly composed. And aren't I cool? And
they'll think the same thing about other people's pictures.
That's right. Yeah.
That are not like that. Right. They'll think they're boring or.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like you're throwing a lot of, what I've been calling lately home run pictures, which, when everything's a home run, nothing's a home run, right? It's a quote, whoever said something like that,
I get like that when I'm looking through, especially when I'm looking through a photographer's work that I like on Instagram, and I realize I'm tapping like on every picture, and I was like, this can't be, it's like, this is not good. It's great. The photography is great, but it's not doing me any good by liking all of the pictures or something like that. So,
well, it's an ego boost for the poster, but
sure,
it's fun to like somebody's images,
Yeah.
But anyway, I like the idea. Maybe I'll do it. This coming weekend, I'm going back to my hometown again. So, I'm going to try. Yeah, it's my mother's birthday. She has a big birthday coming. So go visit her, and I'm sure I'll have some time to, if the weather's good, go around and take some pictures and do some of the ordinary. And it's good for me because there's a time travel thing, I moved away from there 44 years ago, right? So there's a connection there.
Let me ask you this then. What would be a practical way to make ordinary pictures work photographically? Like what are these other photographers doing that we can sort of take away from? Because first of all, we all don't have, large format cameras, which we can set up on the street corner and take pictures. But what do you think? What would be?
Well, I guess.
And there's probably not just one way, obviously.
No, there's not. There's one. Well, there are a couple of things occur to me. One is let the scene be what it is. Don't.
Okay, so deep dive on that. Okay, you've said this to me before. Sorry,
I have? Sorry.
Yes,
I
you
remember.
have. Well, maybe this sounds very familiar. And this is where I'm going to play the student because I don't fully understand that. Let the scene be what it is. Give me that because I think that stands for a lot of things that we're talking about. So,
well, for this, okay, so
anything,
if you're shooting sports or birds or whatever, you have to zoom in. You got to make it all about the subject, the one subject. Make it to my speed skaters. Like there's a dynamic thing that has to happen in these sport pictures, these bird pictures or whatever. It's a thing. You are putting a lot of your own will and skill into capturing that image. When you're shooting these ordinary things, you want to make it as passive as you can. We put the phone up or the camera up and just try and capture just the thing that it is and just let the photons come in and hit the sensor of the film. You're not forcing your will onto the scene. You're not, you're capturing something for what it is. You're not trying to make it look pretty or whatever. So
give me a practical example. Like you said, your phone and you're walking in your main street, right?
Yeah, so I'm on the sidewalk. I'm walking the dog like I typically am.
Yeah, yeah.
You see the sky, you see the trees in the like the median, whatever in between the street and the sidewalk, and it's just there's something about the light that's interesting, and so you just put the camera up and do a basic compose. You probably want the horizon to be level, so let's do that, and just see how it looks. Take the picture. Like it's not about, maybe it's more about just being there and not seeing something. I don't know. You want the scene to come to you. You're not seeking it out. It's like the most passive. I mean, that's what is occurring to me.
Sorry, am I putting you on the spot here?
The dog or the cat, I mean.
Yeah, okay, can you hear him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me let him in because he's got to get his food. Hang on.
All right.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Maybe he wants to join in on the discussion.
He always wants to join in on the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, his food is in my office here, so I mean, he's hungry. He's got to come in. So
Yeah.
better him coming in. Anyway, yeah, he's a very famous cat. So how do we? I hate to say convince because it's not about convincing, but how do you tell a photographer, a student, someone who's into it, like that's okay? They're going to look at you and say, "You want me to take a picture of a street?" Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it, but why? And of course you can say, well, it may not be interesting to you. Of course it may not be interesting, blah, blah, blah. But I would love them to be able to explore this part. Like I would love that, I don't know, that flipping around of something. Because once you flip things around, you suddenly start looking at it differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're like, all of a sudden, I want to say the world is your oyster, but all of a sudden you could find yourself in the most boring place, right? Presenting like, what am I going to shoot here? There's nothing there. And you flip that around and all of a sudden it's become this incredible, treasure trove of ordinary subjects for you to take a picture of.
All right.
But I'm imagining someone saying, why do you want to take a picture of a street? I mean, and then you got to say, well, it doesn't have to be a street. It could be a storefront or it could be a shoe or it can be.
You're still the photographer. You still get to choose the subjects you want to shoot.
Yeah.
And then bias it towards the ordinary, The front steps on your brownstone.
There's just a part of me that feels like they'll just do it to humor us, like, okay, I'll take this picture of something and there, you happy?
Yeah.
I mean, again, part of this is me trying to also learn, like watching Kilby's videos. Actually, he had another one on Joel Meyerowitz, and the subject matter is similar in some sense. I was showing some of the pictures from Cape Light, stuff that he photographed in Provincetown and Cape Cod. And he photographed this ice cream place that I went to. I was looking at the picture. I was like, I was there.
Yeah.
And Kilby was talking about the feelings that are evoked in it, right? It's not about like there's more feeling in the picture than subject.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting.
He does get into the color too, which I thought was interesting.
Yes. So you watch this one too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I watch all of them. It's just, do I remember them is really
Yeah. But like those two things were connected to me somehow, even though they're different subjects. But I do see the Meyerowitz photographing ordinary things maybe even in an ordinary way. I wouldn't say an extraordinary way. He's just noticing these things. But I really like the idea that he was trying to photograph the sound of flapping laundry, right, by using slow shutter speed. And for some reason that clicked. I don't know why. It's like Kilby had a really good way of explaining it to me, and for some reason it sank in. I'm 61 years old, and suddenly I feel like I've learned something new about photographer and a certain kind of photography. And I don't know why I'm so dense. Maybe I'm not dense. It was never clicking. That's kind of what I want to get towards, especially when I'm teaching. But I would love for people who are listening to this, who are interested in that too, to try to see, because I love photographing. I don't have hero shots here.
Yeah.
Like I have skills. I've got cameras. I've got stuff, and I'm sitting on my butt, and I'm not utilizing, my own talents to do something. And why not photograph someone already? But I don't feel like doing it just for the sake of doing it. Like,
right.
So I really want to flip this on its head a little bit and be able to look at it and say, oh yeah, I can see where we can go with this.
Yeah. I look at it as just like another tool in your toolbox, If it is boring and you feel like you need to go out and go for a walk or something, take the camera with you or take the phone with you and look for the ordinary, just like you look for those awesome, perfectly timed street pictures. You can be very passive. I mean, it's just for me, it's where you put your energy. The more I think about it, it's just, I see this, I photograph it. It's not like you're like and I'm working the Stampede or in Japan, I'm
Right.
fully on, I'm in flow. And it's like,
Right. Yeah. This is sort of the opposite of
this is
your
the
jam
opposite. This
trip,
is
right?
it having it come and just hit you, and
Yeah.
you're just, your mind can be somewhere else, and you just see these things, and it's like, don't even think to yourself, this might be an interesting picture. Just shoot it. Oh, this is this ordinary thing.
Yeah.
Make it the exercise might be to just make it as passive a photo experience as you can. And then, like a lot of things in photography, the little bit of effort that you put into it, it gets magnified sometimes. And you get surprised.
Yeah.
You get surprised with what you actually
Would you
cover.
suggest trying it at home? Like, I always think the places that you know the best are always the most challenging, right?
Mhm.
Like the things that you see every day.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? I mean, do you ever photograph in your own home?
Yeah. In fact, one of my pictures that you really liked was our couch. It was taken at dusk with the light of the TV shining on the cushions. And it has it's not a typical me picture because it's in color and it's square, and I guess square I do in Instagram, but it has a kind of a richness and quietness to it, where it was just like, I'm sitting across from it. I didn't even move. I just put the phone up.
You just looked up
and I messed around with the exposure a little bit until I got the right. And there's a little bit of sunset through the blinds. Like you can see the trees obscured by the blinds behind. And it was like the light for that particular subject was perfect. Now, I did put myself into that image. And it's not just a vernacular image. It's not just thing, this is what the couch looks like on this particular date. It was just, this is not a common thing, but it's a ordinary thing that I see in my house every day. So when I just take a picture of it, and it turned out to be pretty arresting. So maybe that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
That's one example.
I also know that, now that I'm thinking about it, I know that our brother in light, Dave Swidek, does that too a lot. There's a lot of, he photographs within his like immediate area. And I remember seeing stuff in his own home, and even just his small walks around that are very striking, and it's within arm's reach, of where he's at. And he always posts those pictures as just like little grabs, on our Discord. But often I find myself really attracted to them because he's finding I wouldn't say extraordinary things, but really interesting things in what might be considered ordinary subjects. Yeah. So, it's just, when we're stuck in, our ruts and trying to find something to do, and now we're getting into the warmer weather, at least in the northern hemisphere. This might work for people in the southern hemisphere working towards the winter when you're getting all, hibernation kind of stuff. But like, I really want to be able to start finding stuff to, as I'm not finding street photography here. I find it now and then through, a county fair or a state fair or something like that, or some big gathering. But it's a lot harder to do the things that I was doing. Actually, when I was in New York, early April, I went to a street fair in Nyack, New York, and I was like, 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
I haven't posted any of those pictures yet because I really need to look through them. But I was with my brother and my stepmom, and we're walking through, and they're like, "You want to get food?" I said, I just want to photograph. I'm just walked straight into people.
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes, are people going to, get you? And I'm like, no, nobody's going to care that I've got a camera.
No.
And this woman was right in front of me, and she was like waving her arm. She had a very character face with big glasses on and big hair, and in front of this lobster food truck. And she's asking my brother something, and she's waving her arms, and I literally have the camera like almost in her face. Right? Yeah. And it's like in her face. I'm like, bah, 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 and then she walks away, and I go to my brother. See? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
You're like, what's his name in Jurassic Park? Dodgson.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
That's right.
Anyway, that being said, I don't have a lot of that here. And so when I do get it, my street chops will kick in. But there's so much I want to explore here in my own way. And I am really attracted to these ordinary scenes. And I want to really look at them in that different way. And I also want to educate people to be able to look at them slightly different so that they can go off and realize they can photograph anything they want and they can turn it into something really extraordinary and compelling to look at. So anyway,
that's good. And once they just do it on their own and they see, maybe it won't be a huge, deep revelation, but sort of like, oh, I can take pictures of boring things and they kind of turn out, like even small epiphanies like that, I think make a difference. But again, I go back to another tool in the toolbox. You don't have to wait until you go out traveling somewhere to take a picture or to get the camera out. You can, it's right on your doorstep or on your acreage or on your farm, wherever you live.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I got so used to New York, and in a sense, I want to say I got bored of it, but it was like, another group of people on the subway, another, walking through Fifth Avenue, and that might be my equivalent of someone here saying, another, windmill, and another, corn silo or something like that.
Another grain elevator,
grain elevator, yeah. So, when time comes and I get to show people this kind of stuff, I really want to have that mindset that they can do whatever they want of anything, and we'll see how that goes. So
I would be curious about just a display or a web page with a whole bunch of these ordinary pictures tiled, just to see, you could see, kind of get a feeling for, the different subjects that might appeal to people in different ways.
I see.
Just as a way to.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Just as a way to present the ordinary in aggregate is maybe not that ordinary. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
I think. So I'm questioning you. How, and this might be too big for the. Anyway, how do we separate what's an interesting ordinary picture from something that is like that just doesn't have it? Where's that line between, yes, it is a picture of nothing and is not probably worth spending time on, compared to a picture of nothing that's something. Am I making any sense here? Like, where's that line? What would you?
Well, yeah, there has to be enough there that you start to get curious about what you're looking at.
So it's really about curiosity.
I think it's about curiosity.
Yeah.
The two important things in art, curiosity and mindfulness, the two things you have to have, I think, to start to create art.
So if one can create curiosity in their picture by all sorts
curiosity in the moment before you photograph,
in the moment too. But
in
the
moment,
hoping to capture that in the picture too, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you want.
But the point of what I'm trying to say is, if you're not curious about where you are at that moment, you keep walking, or you go to the next thing until, whoa, wait a sec, this tree and this thing, whatever, maybe I'll take a picture of this. You don't have to think much more than that, and just, do what I said before, just line it up and take the picture.
Okay.
And move on, and let it hit you as opposed to you doing the searching.
Oh, I see. So that's an actionable thing, is the curiosity.
That's the way I want to think about it, whether or not it actually works. You tell me when you teach the people.
Well, no, but you said mindfulness too, because I kind of think that those two things have to be connected at that, because, if you're just walking to go pick up some milk from the corner, and you might be thinking about something you have to do tomorrow and whatever. But if you are going to pick up some milk and you have your camera with you and you think, what is going to strike me? Being mindful, in other words, being in the moment is what mindfulness is. Mm-hmm. If you're in the moment while you're taking that walk to go pick up your milk, and you might be curious about something that you've glossed over the last time you went and walked over to pick up milk, and that's what you're saying could be the driving force to get you to pick up the camera and take a shot. Yeah.
Other times you walk by there, the light is not right or whatever. It's just, there's something, this is different.
Right. Yeah. But you pay attention to that. You could say, oh, the light's not right here, but I remember that time before I walked by this and the light was really interesting at this time of day or something like that. So, okay. All right. Yeah. I would say as a journaler, I'd say write that stuff down if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind of a cool thing. Because I think for me to recall, to rely on my memory about something, it's not always working. But if I sometimes come back and write something down, I'm like, okay, I can go back to that later. So.
Well, we let Joel Sternfeld down. Or Sternfeld, sorry. We let him down. We didn't remember his name first off. So
yeah. Sorry, Joel. I apologize. All right. Okay. I think this is, we need to come back to this again. I would love to come back to this with some guests as well. So
well, I'll keep this in mind, and I go back to my hometown. I'll make a point of doing something.
Well, actually, I'll do the same when I at the wedding. I wonder if I can find that as a project. So we both have little projects to.
Weddings are great guerrilla photography. I would be like in there and just. Well, of course, you're busy with other things.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the last 2 weddings that I shot were sort of, they had a street aesthetic. Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, I haven't been in a wedding in a long time, and I haven't had that mindset. And I actually don't have a lot to do. I mean, I do have some jobs, but I'm pretty much a guest at this. So we will see.
Take the X106 or.
Yes. That would be a perfect camera.
Yeah.
All right, man. So where are we finding you in the world here?
You can find me on the internet on Vero, Twitter, and Blue Sky at WRosinPhoto. Instagram, you can find me at Ward Rosin Fine Art, which is where I put most of my stuff, and that's my stream of consciousness. On Facebook, I'm Ward Rosin Photo, and my website is rosin.ca. That's ROSIN.ca. That's where you can find both the rodeo book that Mark Ryerson and I did. It's coming up on 10 years. I can't believe that.
Oh, boy.
That long is it? And also my first Japanese zine called Gaijin, available for sale there. So what about you, Antonio? Where can we find you?
Blue Sky at AM Rosario. My Instagram, which is not a stream of consciousness yet, but it's AM Rosario Photo. My website is amrosario.com. Facebook, I'm Rosario Photo. I do post a lot on Facebook. I kind of like that sometimes. But I do want people to subscribe to our Substack newsletter at streetshots.substack.com, where you can see my latest article about Ashland, Nebraska.
The pictures are great. They really feel it. Yeah.
I appreciate it. That might be a good place for people to start if they listen to the show about ordinary things. Mm-hmm. And actually a couple of things to do. If you want to support the show directly, you could buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Antonio Rosario. But I would like to encourage you to go to both of our websites, rosin.ca and amrosario.com, because we both have print stores available. And I think a great way to support us and our show is to go check out our prints that are available. Mine are custom printed, and I will put a nice, really cool authentication stamp that I had made on the back of a print. I'm not sure what Ward does, but
I'm getting there right now. It'll just be a signature unless you don't want it.
Signature, yeah.
Yeah, my signature is kind of chicken scratch, but I'm working on it, both on an imprint for my books and also a stamp of some sort.
Yeah.
So that's coming.
I do think that's a good way to support us in our show. So that's a way for us to give you something that's from us. And we can have a little coin to pay for the bills here and stuff. So
and if there's, for me, I don't have everything on the print shop, but there's an image on Instagram that you like a fine print of. A lot of my fine print sales have come from Instagram. So
that's great.
Don't hesitate to let me know. You can DM me on Instagram or on my website and ask away, and I should be able to help you.
I actually prefer the slide. And if anybody's interested in print swaps, at least for me, I'm interested. So we can you can reach out and talk about swapping prints like I did with Gavin. We've got print swaps happening. So anyway, that being said, we are going to be moving into May. So I will see you in May and see everybody else in May.
Mid-May.
And, hopefully you won't have any more snow in May.
It's an even-numbered year. Yeah, no, one of the worst snowstorms we had was May 12th. No, May 16th, 1986.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
long time
That's
ago.
a bit of time ago. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm not.
40
I'm
years.
just saying. It could happen.
I'm just saying, 40-year storm.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, everybody. And Ward, thanks for joining me tonight.
All right. Always a pleasure.
Have a good evening.
You too. Good night.
Good night. Okie doke. I got a cat on my hand here. So
I see
can't
the
move
back of
one
his
hand.
head for the last 10 minutes as you were talking.
Yeah. Yeah. He's pinned my left hand down on the ground. So